your audience, or does it?
Yes, ma'am. We're live. So yes, it does go to my audience.
Oh, awesome.
So
Okay.
let me turn this around. So hey guys, this is Gloria Ward, and I want to welcome you to our live version of our I'm Loving Me project. And um, first, I want to just give a disclaimer. My dogs are being loud today. I don't know why. So if you do hear a little barking in the background, I am so sorry. Uh, I don't know what's going on, but definitely tonight we're going to have a wonderful, wonderful webinar. First, let me say that our community has grown so much, and I am so happy and so excited about everything. You guys have been sending me messages, you guys have been texting, you guys have been sending me emails thanking us, giving us some kudos with the project and everything that we're doing. I thank you guys for the love. I mean, the work that we're doing, it is very important because the vision is to inspire 1 million women to love themselves. And with the stories and with everything that we're getting, um, it just helps us know that our vision and what we wanted to do um, 90 days ago is actually moving so fast and we doing so much work. But tonight, this conversation is going to be about a topic that we all know that is can be a little bit lengthy, and that's about relationships. And I just want to show the names of everybody that's here because I'm going to introduce these two ladies. Now, tonight we have Lynn Bethel. Now, Lynn, I thank you so much for being here because I know you're going to tell your amazing story about your journey and how you actually started to love yourself. And I am so glad that me and you talked already just a little bit. And I'm glad that you decided to be transparent. And I'm very glad that you decided to actually do this live because what I wanted to do is I wanted every woman just to hear your story. Okay. And because I think it's important because the journey and everything that you've been through, I know another woman has been through that. Right. And I have my amazing, I talk about this lady all the time. I just met her some time ago, Miss Jackie. And I've been I've been talking about this lady every day, Lynn. Okay. Every day to everybody that I know. She has really changed my life, my friends' lives. She has helped us see things that we've never seen about ourselves. She gives us a lot of insight about life and how we should be able to think, how we should be able to really love ourselves. So I wanted her to come on because I know as you tell your story, as you walk us through your journey, some of the things that you probably didn't know that happened to you, she can kind of give you some insight about that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I am so excited that you ladies are here, and I just say welcome, 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 and thank you.
You. Thank
Yes.
you.
So Lynn, it's about you tonight. I want to know your story and I want to know your journey. One of the things that we talk about here is, you know, what did you see when you looked in the mirror when you were going through your journey? So, yeah, let's get into it. Tell us your story.
Okay, so it goes back to childhood. I mean, actually, I had a really good. I mean, there were some things in my childhood that were a little bit abnormal looking back, but I
Mhm.
really had a great childhood. I did. I grew up in a very comfortable family as far as financially. Um, Two-parent home, very suburbs, extracurricular activities, cheerleading. I mean,
So
everything.
you had the
So
white picket fence and everything?
it was, and it was like we were like a neighborhood house that you go to. All the kids go to. My father had he was Caribbean. He was from the Bahamas, so I lived
Okay.
there for a while. My mom was from originally from Georgia, but she lived in New York. They met in New York, and it was like very Cosby like.
Oh, good for you.
Ironically, but it was very Cosby like. Kind of same family scenario. It was two boys. two girls, a boy, and two girls. So I mean, it was a very stable upbringing for sure.
Okay.
Um, as you know, I grew older and started, experiencing relationships outside of my home. It became a little bit more um, difficult. And I say that because I don't think my parents like fully prepared us for what was really out there, because we were kind of sheltered in a lot of ways. And
Okay.
I realize now, looking back, that some of the things that I went through was because being sheltered from one, and then secondarily, it was just that the self love, which I thought I had pretty high self esteem at the time, it just was not there. And so I
Mm,
attracted situations to me that weren't really fully beneficial for me.
okay. Hmm. And so tell us, what was some of those things that you found out when you were actually out there? Because you said, when you started to meet other people, is this men? Is it females? Is it both?
Well, there were some friendships, female friendships, that turned out to be not so good. But of course, it was mostly, my male relationships. I never strictly male.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it was just like I just didn't have the right tools. I didn't have the information that I needed to be able to discern how to be in a relationship, even though my parents, were together, and they would argue, but we wouldn't see a whole lot of stuff. Truly, it was maybe passive aggressive now looking back at it, but it
Okay.
really was not like terrible. It was, pretty decent from what I could see at the time. But through high school, and then a college situation, and then getting involved and getting married, and it was just a different situation that I wasn't fully prepared for.
Okay. And so let's get into that. When we spoke on the phone, you started to tell me your journey with, your husband and some of the things that happened. First, what I want to know is, how was your self-esteem before you got married? Did you have a high self-esteem? Did you actually love yourself, or where do you know what state of mind and where you were before you actually joined with another person?
No.
Mm.
And I just want to be clear that
Mm.
it's really, at this where I am in my life, I really see that it's really not about the other person. It was totally
Correct.
about me. I just did not. And to be honest, where I will be transparent is that when I was in college, I was date raped. Didn't
What?
real, did not realize that at the time, but I was.
What
And
happened? Can you tell us what happened?
I thought somebody liked me. We went out, came back, making out a little bit, and I said no a few times. He didn't stop, and
Oh
I
wow.
was date raped. So, and to make matters worse, you know, I got pregnant at that time. My
Hmm.
like first or second week of college, so totally
Yeah,
green,
yeah,
like
yeah,
not prepared in the slightest bit.
yeah.
And so, actually, I got pregnant, like I said, had to go through that whole process by myself, being in another state. Um,
You didn't
I was
tell your
in
parents?
No, no, I didn't, because I didn't
Oh,
want to be judged. I was
I
afraid. I
understand.
didn't, and to be honest, I
Yeah.
didn't even realize what actually had happened. I didn't realize what it was. I just thought that we were, what I thought? I thought we were in a relationship after that. So I was
Gotcha.
literally
Yeah.
that naive
Like we
about it.
together. We
Right,
did it. We together. Okay.
right. And we weren't, of course not. And so he was dating somebody else a couple weeks later. So, and then I had to go through the whole abortion thing by myself
Oh
with a
God.
friend from
Sorry.
school. But so when I met the next, now I had to prepare myself, what I thought was preparing myself, and kind of
Well,
laying
before
back.
we get there, how was that experience? Because see, here's the thing. You said a whole bunch of stuff,
Hmm.
but it's like the
Yeah.
feeling behind it. Like, what is going through your mind at that time, if you can remember? Are you saying to yourself, my parents didn't prepare me for this, or you know why was I so stupid to allow this to happen? Like, what, or were you confused? Did you
I
have somebody there?
um no, I was able to talk to, my sister and let her know. She actually kind of helped me financially to do
Okay,
what I
got
needed to
it.
do.
Uh-huh.
But there was, I just felt that I kind of thought that I was being grown, or I just was, it was
You
just,
you
I
were
was,
trying to make sure you do what you needed to do, and you wanted
right.
to show your parents that you were old enough now to do what you needed to do, and you didn't want the shame, correct?
Right. I didn't want the shame, and I just didn't want them to worry and say, "We need to come home."
Gotcha.
And to be honest, we just didn't have those kinds of conversations in my home. We didn't talk about sex. We didn't
Mm.
really talk about sex. So my
Yeah.
parents were old school. They were born in the 30s, so they didn't talk about that stuff. It was just like, keep your legs closed, don't sit
That's
with
it.
your feet out. And I
That's
never had a
right.
conversation with my father about it ever. Never about boys. He said, boys, just general stuff.
Boys
Yeah.
are
So
nasty. Is that it?
yeah, I mean, he was overprotective in a lot of ways, but it's just the conversations were not had. So as a young person, you're thinking,
Mm.
well, they're not telling me anything, so I need to learn this from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And you go out and you try to see what the world can teach you, and that's the worst way to
Yeah.
approach it.
Okay. So you went through that experience, and then is this when you meet your husband after?
Yeah, it was. I was in coming meeting him. Well, I had known him from school, so,
Okay.
and I just want to say that I was in a space where I was very vulnerable because of what had just happened.
Oh, most
Mhm.
definitely.
Yeah.
Most
So,
definitely.
and I'm, turning 18 literally, because I was in college when I was 17. I started college at 17.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it was a space of, I knew this person really well, I thought really well, and it was like I know that person, would be good in this situation, because I'm not a person that needs to go from person to person, relationship to relationship. I'm like a solo kind of serial, not serial, but solo kind of girl.
No,
I'm
I
just with one
understand.
person and I'm with that person.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean it was fine. I don't want to, like, it was good in the beginning. It was great.
Of
It was just,
course. That you had the honeymoon period where they say that everything is always good, everything is blissful, right, Miss Jackie? It's like you get into the relationship and you really don't know who you with, right? It's like until you actually meet the person, and that's some of the things that Miss Jackie would say, like, you have to interview people,
absolutely.
right? So you want to say something, Miss Jackie?
Well, yeah. First of all, when I really give you so much credit for coming and being transparent
Mm-hmm.
and sharing what you're sharing, because the story you just started telling, so many women experience the same thing. And what you're doing others to not stuff it down anymore, but to talk about
Mm-hmm.
how we begin to heal, right?
Absolutely.
And so the more you talk about it, the more we share, expose not just ourselves, but others, and we just get better.
Mm-hmm.
And you talked about how your parents did not, really talk to you, because at that time that's not what. And what they did though was they were working with the best they had to work with what they knew.
Right.
Didn't talk to them.
Right.
And and so yeah, you went out into the world without knowing and having the knowledge of what was even going on. Like, what is this? And like you said, after what happened, you thought, well, we're together now, right?
Right.
It's so common, because a lot of times we as women, see, we're different from men. When we are with the man, we are with the man in our hearts and our minds and our souls. And a lot of times, especially at that age, they're just with us physically.
Hmm.
But it's not That's one thing that's really important. What I'd like you to know, it's not your fault. You
Mm.
know, what happened is not your fault. That person who did that to you, that person was responsible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no excuse for that behavior. And it doesn't justify his behavior, but you're not to blame. And a lot of times we'll blame ourselves, won't we?
Mm-hmm.
We'll blame ourselves and the shame and the guilt will show up. Won't it, Gloria?
It sure will. It
And
sure
we just don't, yeah, but we don't have to own it.
right.
Right.
So Lynn, so yeah, so continue. So you meet your husband and you're in your honeymoon period, right? You guys are loving on each other, everything is fantastic, and
Yeah.
continue.
Um, it was great. I mean, initially it was, and I don't want to. I really don't want to bash him because he's
No, you know, well, you're not bashing. You're just telling your
right.
experience. That's all.
Yeah. Um, it there were signs there in the beginning, and because I knew before,
Mm-hmm.
there were signs there that it wasn't the best fit for me. But I ignored those signs,
Yes.
so I just kept on like most women do. We just kind of stuff down what our soul is telling us or what our spirit is telling us, like, saying, hey, listen to me, your
Right.
intuition.
Right.
I just was not. And so ultimately what happened was it was a lot of breaking up, getting back together, breaking up, getting back together, breaking up, getting back together, have a
Mm-hmm.
baby, break up, get back together, file for divorce, come back together, have a baby.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, literally for a very long time. Um, 19, I mean, a lot of years, 20 years more. I
Wow.
mean, and it was just, I realize now that um, it was for, it was for a period. It was for me to learn some things about myself.
Correct.
And of course, I'm
Right.
not where I need to be at this point yet, but I'm like so much further than I was before because I understand self love and I understand why I was in a relationship that was not serving my highest self. It's because
Mm-hmm.
I came into it being a vulnerable person and
Yeah.
I was slowly growing. It was a slow and
Mm.
painful, excruciating process to grow through, all of the things that were happening in my life. But I mean,
Mm.
I did. I mean, and I brought some amazing people into the world, my kids, and um, I just understand now that I mean, it's a journey, and it's like it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and we don't get there when we want to get there. We get there slowly.
Right. Absolutely. And the great thing is that when you're going through, you're always asking yourself, at least I know I did, is you ask yourself, how the hell did I get here? Like, what is it that happened? How come I keep breaking up and getting back together? Like, what is it that they have that I just keep coming back and coming back and coming back?
Hmm.
And what you learn is that it's not about them. It's something in you that you have not really dealt with, and that is back to what we said about the whole self-love part, right? Because there's some part of
Yeah,
you that don't love yourself enough where you believe that you need their love to feel whole. Is that correct?
yeah,
Right?
absolutely, absolutely.
And the
Yeah. And
as
you know what else? I'm sorry. You know what
no
else? We learn function in dysfunction. So
Hmm.
we know it's
Mhm.
dysfunctional, but because it's and because we fear the unknown, we don't want to be alone, we don't want to be lonely, we care about what other people think or so that's why we keep going back
Yeah,
because
Mm.
we learn how to function in the dysfunction.
right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then you learn too that you don't want to. For me, it was like, okay, I don't want to break up a family. I want to. I'm a ride or die. I'm gonna stay in this for as long as I can. I
Yeah.
want the kids to have their father around. I mean, but really, it's like, okay, your kids are seeing what they're seeing.
Right.
And if there's something that's not healthy for them to move forward in their own
Right.
lives, they're still seeing it.
That's
They're
right.
taking it in. They're processing
Mhm.
it. They're going to use it for their own relationships. So I
Mhm.
understand now. This like it's not a really. I mean, the kids are resilient. They're going to bounce back, and they're going to still have relationships with their other parent. But if it's
Yeah.
not healthy for them to see, then what are we doing?
Right. And so how was it for your kids though? Did they adjust well, or did you have to continuously talk to them?
Yeah, but the thing is, I've always talked to my kids. Like I remember having sex conversations with them when they were 4 and 5 years old.
Oh, really? So you
Yeah,
would
because
kind of
I didn't
give
get that.
them all of the stuff that you didn't have just to make
Right.
sure that they were well prepared. And you have girls too, right?
I have one girl and 2 boys.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Oh,
girl is the
Lord.
oldest. So and
Always.
it worked. It really
Uh-huh.
it worked. I mean, because
That's
of
right.
course they're gonna experiment. They're gonna have sex and stuff, at young ages. And she actually
That's,
is totally the opposite. So I think she saw a lot, and she was like, okay, I'm not gonna go down that path. So
Right.
she's
mm,
she thinks through stuff very like almost to the point where it's like, okay, you're too much in your head.
Mhm.
But since I talk to them from the early parts of their lives all the way through, they know to come to me and talk to me, and they tell me, they call me on my crap, like, okay, you're doing too much with this. If they feel like something in our
yeah.
relationship is not working very well, or if I'm saying too much to them that they can't process between their dad and I, they're saying no, no, I don't need to hear that. I don't want to hear anymore. So they're really kind
Yeah.
of helping me to raise myself to a higher standard too.
Right. And so one of the questions I wanted to ask was, while you're in your journey, I want to know more about how did you get out? Because there's a lot of women who are looking right now, right? Who are saying, okay, you were in a relationship and obviously that relationship did not work out pretty well. You were going back and forth. But what was the day that you made the decision that this is going to be no more, that this is too toxic, that I need to get out? And where did that come from?
Um, that's a really tough question. I think I knew it in my spirit from
Mhm.
for
I-
many,
I-
many, many
and
years.
that's the answer I'm looking for, because I want to hear basically when was the day that you started loving yourself.
I think coming in, I didn't. I loved myself, in the practical. Yeah, I love myself. I love myself. But the actions that I took
Yeah.
against myself were not showing me that I loved me.
Mm-hmm.
They were very self-defeating, and I still deal with that. It's like I still deal with self-defeating behavior. I deal with it all
Mhm.
the time. So I don't think I think when I stopped loving myself, when I saw that, when I saw people could treat you, if you give them something and they treat you bad, then it's like, what's wrong with me? Why would you treat me that way? I didn't get that
Mm-hmm.
from my home. I got that from in the world, to be honest. Because my parents always said, you can do whatever you want to do. They told me they loved all of us. They treated all of us really well. And I thought I was pretty damn good, coming
You
up.
are,
And then
and
I
you
got out
are.
into the real world, and it was like people don't operate the way you operate.
Right.
So the first relationship in high school, when some bad stuff happened there. Then when I got to college and I got date raped, and I was like, the world's not safe.
Mm.
I'm just coming up. I'm just trying to show my best self, and it's not safe. And it's like, so why am I not good enough? And
Wow.
that's where it started. So I was probably really realizing probably about 17 or 18.
And you know what, Lynn? And it's like and maybe Miss Jackie, you could speak to this because you have kids and everything. But what I'm hearing, Lynn, is that your parents wanted to make sure that they gave you the best life,
Mm-hmm.
right? They shield you from a lot of stuff because you know what? They knew how rough the world was.
Yeah.
And they tried to make sure that the environment that they created for you was an environment where you're inspired by love, where you are surrounded by people who were affectionate, who will listen to you, passive aggressive, because they don't want to talk about those hard things, because those hard things are things that they're trying to shield you from.
Right.
Now, that can be good and bad, right, Miss Jackie? Because at the same
That's
time,
right.
you not teaching your kids what is happening out there. So when they encounter these things, they don't know what to do. And that's exactly what you're saying, Lynn. You're saying, I grew up with all this love and all this, talk, no talk about anything, quote unquote, real life. And I had to go out in real life and figure it out for myself.
In the most painful ways possible.
Yeah. But like Miss Jackie said, that's not your fault. And like she said, your parents only did the best that they knew, right, Miss Jackie? But when you
That's
shield
right.
a person, when you shield a child like that, though, how does that, why do parents do that? And then, when the kids start to explore, they start to feel this kind of guilt, like Lynn. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow, like I didn't know the world was like this. Like what is the psyche behind that as a parent?
Is that for Lynn?
Yeah. Can you hear me? No, that's for you, Miss Jackie. What is the psyche behind it,
Oh,
parent?
well, about protection,
Mm-hmm.
because parents have been through some things that you never know about either, and they don't want to share, and so yeah, they will get in a position where they want to protect you from that and not. And then a lot of times they just do not know how to communicate effectively. Parents fear talking to their kids sometimes because they don't know the right way to talk to them. That's what they feel. They believe that because they just feel like they don't know the words. They don't know when is getting through or how to get through. So it's a lot about parenting, uh, period. But and unfortunately, parenting wasn't anything, and well, not just those days, but even today, that people don't understand is learned behavior. It's things that we have to, and not just be just because we have the kids and they show up that we're supposed to know how to talk to them, what to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Lynn, so where are you right now in your life? Do you have love now and you're feeling amazing? Like, what's going on now?
Well, I'm feeling amazing. Yes, absolutely. I have self love, which is amazing.
Yes.
I mean, I'm still working on it, but overall, it's great.
Yeah.
I relocated across the country to start anew. So, after like a lot of life things happened, including the divorce, and um, throughout the years, two of my sisters passed away, and my father passed away, and I just felt stagnant where I was.
Wait a second.
So,
Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. So, not only did you have something with your marriage, but you also experienced death with
Yeah.
two of your siblings.
yes.
How was that?
That's a lot of loss. That's a lot of loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was horrendous. The first one was when I was 28. My
Uh-huh.
sister, she was my the next sibling up from me, so she was the one closest to me in age,
Wow.
and I'm the baby, so she was 31. She had just turned 30. She
Mm-hmm.
just turned 32, I think, when she passed. So so
Mm.
it was like she was my best friend, so like the world just kind of stopped.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I had to learn to adjust and figure out. I mean, why is life so hard? Because it was kind of senseless. She got sick, but it was just really kind of like senseless.
Okay.
Um, then my other sister, actually, my father passed in 2014. So my first sister passed away in 1999.
Mm.
1998, like New Year's Eve, 1998.
No.
Yeah, yeah. And then my father passed in 2014 in February, and so it's like literally 5 years. And then my eldest sister, passed away 6 weeks later, March 31st,
No.
2014. So it was like, why? And then the divorce and the latter, the two other, my father and my older sister passing, that was all in the same year.
No, it was
Wow.
not.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
2014. Yeah. So my father passed in February, my sister passed in March, and my divorce was finalized in September or October. So, and I was fighting through the divorce from April all the way until October. So my entire year
Wow.
was just like
Wow.
difficult.
Let me ask you, can I ask you a question, Lynn?
Sure.
Did you grieve at all?
I did. I did grieve. It was difficult to grieve because at the same time, a lot of other things were going on financially. I
Right.
had moved back into my mom's house, and so I would like to think that I did grieve. Maybe not to the extent that I probably should have, because I'm the kind of person that always keeps everybody else together. I'm the person that when there's fires going and people are screaming and running, I'm like, okay, everybody stay calm.
Uh,
Everybody, we're gonna get through this. I'm that rational person. So I would like to think that I have grieved, but I feel like I've still got some ways to go.
okay.
Okay,
Hmm.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
And where is that now? So you're in California, correct?
I am in California.
Do you have love now?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't have self-love, but I am open to it. I am.
That's the most important thing.
It is,
You
but
know?
I think the fear has been that I was so afraid of getting into something similar to what I had that I'm
Well,
like,
here's the thing. So that means the self-love, it still needs to be worked on, because
it
if
does.
you have the fear, then you don't want to step into a relationship with that, because then it might get a little bit confusing for you again.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So,
And yeah, and then not only that, you'll attract the same behavior.
mm,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
mhm.
We can, unless we work on ourselves and decisions are and who we want to be and what we want that to look like, then that's what we will put out there, and that's who you'll attract.
Right.
And so it's important that your fear is addressed and
Mm-hmm.
and really figure out what exactly are you afraid of,
Mm-hmm.
because fear is just not knowing the unknown.
Yeah.
And so once really, and I'm sure we'll have more conversations, but begin to find out and answer those questions for yourself, not about anybody else,
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
and decide, what your values are, what you want, what
Mm-hmm.
you want it to look like. You create it, you design it, and then that's what will show up and who will show up, and no one else.
Yeah. You're right. I think some of the things that we're told as we're growing up, and probably where
Yeah.
some of my fear springs from, is that you're told, "Oh, there's not hardly no good men out here. Keep what you got." Those types of
Yeah.
very horrible stories, and I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I always say, "No, he's out there. Whoever's for
Mm-hmm.
me is for me. He's out there, right?" But
Yeah.
I want to. I'm not rushing. I want to take.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's a good idea.
I know that the perfect man for me is out there. I don't doubt that. It's just I think I need to be fully prepared
Good.
for him.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That's good.
And so now you're in
That's really
California. You're doing what now? You got the kids out there and everything, and you have your business, correct?
Yes, two of my kids are out here, and then my other son, he's in college back in Atlanta, and so yeah, I do branding. That's been my business for quite a while now.
Mm-hmm.
Personal branding and branding and PR. I am actually in the process of starting a fashion based tech company.
I see
So,
little, what is that?
Good.
Little
Congratulations.
in the background.
oh
Do
yeah.
you call that a dummy? I don't know. What do you
Say
call
it again.
that in the background?
Wow.
What is that thing in the background? Do you call it a
Oh,
dummy? Or do you
this is a robe, so it's like a mannequin. It's
a mannequin? Yeah. The
yeah,
mannequin.
yeah,
Is that a robe you
Wow.
yeah. That is. Actually, I did this in Atlanta before I got out here. So, it's a kimono robe. So you wear it over your jeans or
Yeah.
whatever.
okay?
Yeah. That's yeah.
That looks
Yeah.
Hey,
good.
Lynn.
Thank you.
Lynn, what do you love the most about yourself now?
Well, that's awesome. Right now or just period.
Mhm.
Um, what I love about myself, I think I've I've said this to other people before. I feel that I'm really special. I know that may sound weird.
Yeah.
Um, I feel that I have a purpose
That's right.
here that's bigger than I even realize. I feel like I've
Ooh,
I've come to do something big
Yep.
and to be in front of groups of people to help people. I've
Yep.
seen that since I was little.
Mm.
I feel like I'm special, and then I have a lot to offer. I have a good heart.
You do.
Thank you.
You
And
do.
I'm for if I'm for you, I'm for you. I'm riding with you till the wheels fall off.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's the most important thing that I feel.
And that's amazing.
I love that you know that you're special
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you.
and unique. Yeah,
Thank you. That's
great.
so funny because I've said that to somebody before, and they're like, "I never thought that I was special," and I was like, "You never thought you were
Yeah,
special?"
You'd be surprised.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Because growing up, I mean, who told you that?
Hmm.
Who told you? So how were you? We don't know, right? We don't know, and
Yeah.
we have to figure that out sometimes on our own.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. So when the new boo come along, then you'll be able to fully, be in the space where you're not looking for him to bring you all this joy and happiness and everything. You actually have that for yourself coming in. And like you said, the reason why I love your story is because you're transparent enough to let us know that you don't have all the answers and that you're still working on yourself. And that makes another person feel like at least they can go ahead and try to, because you've tried and you've been through a lot of stuff, so it allows another person to at least listen to what it is that you have to say. Because like Miss Jackie said, even doing this broadcast and being so transparent and actually putting yourself out there, you are doing something that is big and you are helping a lot of people,
Yeah.
because the story that you're telling
Yeah.
is a story that somebody is really afraid to talk about and tell.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. And that is so powerful, Gloria, what you just said, because taught to keep secrets, or we feel like we don't want to share the truth because we don't want people to know how messed up we might be,
Right.
right? Or what we're going through. And so we hide and we put a mask on. We just put a mask on. And when we start to peel that mask off, really are, you get to where you are, where you say, well, wait a minute, I'm special. I'm unique.
Yes.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh. But
Awesome.
it takes some work to peel the mask off, because many of us have a mask on even today.
Mm-hmm.
And we do, and that's because we want to protect ourselves.
Yep.
We don't want people to see who we are vulnerable behind that mask.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Until we get strong enough. This is me. This is who I am, who you see. I don't have a mask on anymore. And you become confident, right? And more knowledgeable,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
And then you
And I
start,
think sharing,
yeah, she started making those
yeah,
fabulous things behind you, like the move and
man,
everything, you know.
what a gift. That's a gift.
It sure is.
That's a gift.
Oh, thank you.
If somebody asks me to make something, the only thing I can do is get some tape and some sheets and put it together. And put it together.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
it's real. It's good. It's good. Good.
And so give us your website, give us all the information. You do branding, you do PR.
Yeah.
Share with the group everything that you're doing right now.
Oh, sure. Well, my website, where I have my statement style program, which is the fashion digital fashion agency, that's at lynnbethel.co, not .com.co. So lynnbethel.co. So for the branding, it's boutiquepress.com.
Mm-hmm. Boutiquepress.com. And this is all on social media, Facebook, Instagram, everything.
Yeah, for the platform that I'm on the most is probably Instagram. So
Okay.
it's I.Lynn.Bethel on Instagram.
Okay. Okay. And so the last thing while we wrap up, I want you to just tell us, for those women out there that have gone through what you've gone through, all of the back and forth and
Mhm.
all of the, getting back together, what advice would you give them now to for them to make a decision to move forward with their life?
I would say to flow with the things that you can't control. Um,
Mm.
if it's outside of yourself, just flow with it. Just flow with it. And release the things that you know deep down in your soul, your spirit, those nudges, those knocks, those little whispers.
Mm,
Acknowledge those and release those things that don't serve your spirit. I mean,
That's
we
right.
have our own answers. We have our own answers if we listen.
yeah.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Wow.
Mm,
You're in a good place.
Oh,
You know,
thank
I mean,
you.
you're in a good place. I mean, it's a constant work,
Hmm.
but the fact that you know about listening, and trusting that,
yeah.
and most important, in what I think that you said is about control,
Mm-hmm.
because we can only control what we think and what we feel and we do.
Hmm.
And anybody that tries to do that for us is trying to manipulate us or control us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're in charge of our own selves. And it sounds like that's what you're doing. You have becoming, and you're in charge of Lynn.
Yeah. I'm getting there. I still have some areas I need to tweak on, but I feel really great about where I am. Absolutely.
Trust
Absolutely.
the
Exactly.
process, Lynn, the process, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Well,
that's good
ladies,
stuff.
I would say thank you so much for being here. We will
Thank you.
definitely do this again. Lynn, thank you. And guys, the only thing that I would want to say to you guys is please, please make sure you like, you comment, and you share this live webinar, because I believe it's so important. I want you guys to go on imlovingme.net, support us, buy one of our t-shirts, buy one of our mugs, really get involved in our community. And just to let you guys know that when we start the I'm Loving Me Institute, the ILM Institute, we're going to have Miss Jackie, who's going to be doing some wonderful things with us. So you're going to see her more and more as we go along, because
Yeah,
she is super awesome. And I'm telling you, if you
I'm
are looking
excited.
to transform your life, or if you're just looking for clarity, if you are just looking for someone to talk to, she
That's
is
right.
definitely going to be a big asset to the community. And Lynn, I definitely going to share everything that you have. And I appreciate you actually being here and just being very transparent, because again, people need to know that, even though I'm in my process, I'm not already there. But guess what I'm doing? I'm trying.
That's
I'm
right.
making this thing work, and I'm
That's right.
doing my work. And when
That's
you do your work, and you say this all the time, Ms. Jackie, when you in it and you doing the work, everything around you starts to change. Everything around you starts to change. So
that's right.
I would love to keep up with you and to see you do some great things. Let's see how we can work
Yeah.
together, of course.
Yeah.
So, Ms. Jackie, is there anything that you want to say before we leave?
I think you just brought it to a great close. That we just have to keep working, because the one thing to remember is that let's not try to strive for perfection. Let's just try to improve as we go, because being better is good enough.
Right.
That's
right.
And thank you for sharing. I'm so excited. Thank you for sharing.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
powerful.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you.
Very much.
Yes. So I will say good night to everybody. Thank you guys for joining, and I will see you guys on the next webinar. See ya.
Bye.
Be well. Thank you.